It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Meloni.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in this Thursday morning to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Keep in mind, this show's on weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ, and is a show all about business owners, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in and around the Tampa Bay and regional communities. So I invite you to please tune in each and every morning and make this a regular show of yours, as this show promotes, what is right with the community. Learn more about the show over my website, tampabayradio.com. On the site there, you can catch all these shows on demand. Also, you'll notice on the site that I sell real estate. So on the site, you can peruse local real estate listings and see what's coming up on the market prior to hitting the MLS. I am a bank-owned property specialist, and a lot of my listings are on the website weeks to months in advance of ever hitting the MLS. So just hit the pre-list properties tab on the homepage, and you can see many of the listings prior to the market. Also, with regards to the show, you can catch me on demand at a number of different social networking sites, including iTunes, where we put up the podcast within usually 24 to 48 hours. So if you're a podcast listener and wanting to catch the show on demand, if you missed one of the shows, just head over to iTunes and search for That Business Show. And please follow me on Facebook.com/That Business Show, as well as Twitter under the handle Jamie_Meloni. Got a great cast of guests for you today. On the second half of the show, it's going to be the Remodeler's Corner, a weekly feature every Thursday at 8:30, sponsored by Jim Yeager of Yeager & Company, a third-generation flooring and remodeling business based up in Odessa, Florida. Visit them at YeagerFlooring.com for all of your flooring and remodeling needs. So we'll be hearing from them on the second half of the show. The topic for discussion today is going to be on security within your home, how to make sure that people that come into your homes are, licensed and vetted properly. Jim has had some experiences in the past with, people that have come into homes that, were unscrupulous, things of that nature. So he's got a private investigator here to share with us some great tips. Patrick Lee, PDK Investigations, is in studio with us on the second half of the hour. So we'll be talking all about, properly protecting yourself within your home and also your business as well from unscrupulous people. On the first part of the show, we got Dr. Raul Mera. He's with Mera, Chief Medical Officer with Mera Vista Health. He's in studio with us here. We'll bring him in just a moment. And as always on Thursdays, we got Charlie the Plumber with me today. Charlie, how are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Jamie. Doing great. Hey, we got the good doctor in here. Oh, well, good morning, Jamie. Hey, another great day to be alive in America. We got the good doctor in here. I guess he'll be analyzing me, and I guess I'll get my prescription of Prozac before I leave.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. So let's go ahead and bring him in. Raul Mera is the CEO and Chief Medical Officer of Mera Vista Health. Mera Vista Health is a national Florida-based healthcare organization specializing in employee wellness, focusing specifically on the improvement of employee emotional health. Clients include large publicly traded companies to small privately held not-for-profits. Dr. Mera is the first resident to be selected to the alumni board and a former assistant professor in the Department of Psychiatry at the University of South Florida. Dr. Mera, welcome to the show today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start with a little bit about what Mera Vista Health is. So tell me a little bit about this company.
Sure. Happy to do that. Essentially what we do is try to help employees of any employer groups dealing with day-to-day stress. People are sometimes preoccupied with financial stress, legal stress, death of a parent, not sure how to deal with that, and it affects their performance at work. So we try to help give them some guidance in terms of how to get over their stress.
Okay, so do you cater to large-based employers? Then you come in and you offer these programs to the employees? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. Pretty much any size employer group will try to assist. And essentially the way the program works, if somebody is dealing with an issue, they call into us 24/7 at a toll-free phone number based here in Florida. And then we assess the problem, and then based on the nature of the complaint, we are able to refer them out to a face-to-face session with a master's level counselor.
Okay, so this is an employee assistance program. What was the inspiration and your motivation for getting into this line of work?
It was actually my business partner. She ran this same division for Baycare Health Systems for many years. Her name is Vicki Davis. And so she approached me. We had met professionally and said we ought to try to do this because there were some gaps in how care was being delivered.
Okay, and so your background is in child psychiatry, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about your background in your medical profession.
Sure. By background, I'm a board-certified child, adolescent, and adult psychiatry. In order to be a child psychiatrist, you have to spend an extra 2 years in fellowship training. So the majority of my clinical work was with children in the foster care system here in Hillsborough County.
Okay. So how does the employee assistance programs work for the employers? Is this something that can be added on to their insurance, things of that nature? Tell me a little bit about how this works.
Yes, sir. It's actually an extra feature that the employer pays for, and it's a tremendous service because it does not cost the employee anything. There's no co-payments. No other fees associated with it. So it's an individually based decision on behalf of the employer group whether or not they want to add this program.
Okay, and so how many visits do people get with the employee assistance program? Is this strictly a phone consultation? Is this something in in office that people can do? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, the way our model works is actually unlimited phone calls into us. And the models vary from up to 3 sessions face-to-face per calendar year up to 5 in certain situations.
Okay, and so what are you mostly dealing with the employee assistance? Well, you mentioned stress, correct? What are some of the other components that you're assisting employees with their employers?
Yes, we have a lot of banks as clients. So, for example, one of the dimensions of what we do is help what is called psychological first aid. In the event that there's ever a bank robbery, we have a team of folks that come in and help people debrief from having a gun held to their head in their place of work.
Is that something that you have dealt with in the past, traumatic events of that nature?
Yes, we actually dealt with it last week.
Oh, wow, that's incredible. I wouldn't even think of something like that as being necessary, with them as an employer. I mean, these are some of the things that employers aren't thinking of, and so this is just a great topic. Charlie, you had something?
You mentioned that. Yeah, my wife, when she worked at the bank, she went through a robbery, and they didn't have anything like this at that time. Now, imagine this is like PSTD, to where the military troops are having the post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I guess the civilians can get this too, and just like this train wreck that happened, I imagine there's a lot of people that are going to be going through stress problems because of that as well. What's your? I mean, do you deal with the military too, Doctor?
We don't have any current military clients, although we have employees who are former veterans of companies that we serve. And you're exactly right, Charlie. The issue is that, the definition of a post-traumatic stress disorder is when someone deals with a life event that's outside the range of normal human experience. And certainly war is an example of that, but also, a bank robbery and a teller having a gun held to her head is outside the range of normal experience. And the way our program works really is to try to prevent further problems down the line because, emotional health is no different than physical health in that you want to try to prevent something before it becomes worse.
Okay, so say I'm an employer and you're presenting your program to me. Sell me on this program and why I need to be offering this to my employees. I mean, I'm sure there's a cost savings, things of that nature when you have more productive employees, but sell me on this service as an employer.
Sure. One of the major concerns in this day and time for an employer group is the cost. And this is something that based on the actual number of employees is approximately $6 to $7 per employee per month in terms of its charge. And that fee would also cover not only the employee, but any spouse or significant other in the home, as well as dependent children. And so in terms of prevention and the cost-benefit analysis, I challenge anyone to find anything in healthcare where there's a response that is so immediate to an employee or patient need. And you are right, furthering the keeping that employee healthy and productive and coming to work and trying to mitigate the effects of emotional stress in terms of their productivity.
Okay, talk to me about privacy. If an employee needs to utilize the program, I mean, how is their privacy protected? Is the employer made aware of that they're using the service at all? Tell me a little bit about that.
Great question. And absolutely, it's 100% confidential. The employer group never knows that an employee has called in. What we do give are de-identified utilization reports back to the employer group to give them an understanding of how the utilization is going. But yes, it's 100% confidential. That is one of the main reasons, actually, why these programs are not utilized by employer groups is because of an employee's concern that the confidentiality would not be maintained.
Tell me about the reach of your company today from when it started. When did you start the company again?
Approximately 7 years ago.
7 years ago. And what has it grown into today in terms of staff and reach?
Yes, we've expanded tremendously in terms of the covered employee lives. That's how the business is measured. So we actually are covering approximately 7,000 covered employee lives. most of which are in the Bay Area right now, but in the past we have had business in other states, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Texas, and other places.
And what do you attest your success to? How are you able to get that reach? It's something I always want to talk to an entrepreneur about, is how do you get your company off the ground and get it to the level that you've gotten it to? Because so many people struggle and fail in the early years. Tell me a little bit about your success story.
Sheer perseverance is absolutely what it takes. You cannot give up.
How difficult was it in the early years? When was that first big break, or how did you how did you make that transition to really having a national company, though? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Sure. And it's just based on relationships and then a certain amount of luck. We have a very active advisory board who is very helpful to us in terms of expanding business relationships. And I've been in the area for 25 years, and the timing of things right now is optimum as well. As at a national level, we're focused on employee wellness and health care. And again, this is a dimension of trying to keep people healthy.
Now, tell me about the qualifications that the counselors have, the people the employees are talking to. Who are they talking to? Are they talking to licensed medical professionals, or talking to just social workers? Tell me about that.
Yes, sir. The people that the employee, when they call in, are speaking to are licensed mental health counselors. And what the great thing about what Mira Vista Health does is that we screen our provider network. So the network that we utilize is a proprietary network that's privately labeled and owned by Mira Vista Health. So, yes, they're licensed master's level counselors who have experience in working in this field.
Oh, some great information. Got to take a quick break, but we're talking with Dr. Raul Mera, Chief Medical Officer with Mira Vista Health. Learn more about them at miravistahealth.com. And you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305.
Hey there, it's Lynn Wise, the founder of Wise Business Advisors and Contractor Business Alliance. I am a certified value builder advisor, and I help business owners build a company that will allow them to have the business that they dreamed of when they started. Why did you go into business for yourself? I'm sure it was not to work 100 hours a week with no work-life balance and no financial freedom. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building a business that provides value to you and your family now and in the future. You can learn about the 8 essential areas of a business that you must build to have a business that can be an asset for your future. Go to wisebusinessadvisors.com and take the Value Builder score. It is free and will deliver your score immediately on how you are doing on building a valuable business for you and your family. Or call me at 772-834-8513 to learn more about the Value Builder system.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Traffic on Hillsborough Avenue at the Veterans Expressway. That's blocking a couple lanes. Big delays on the Veterans Expressway southbound from Citrus Park to West Shore. Also, big delays from St. Petersburg into Hillsborough County. Howard Franklin Bridge backed up completely across the bay. May want to consider the Gandy or the Courtney Campbell Causeway. With sea traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Firestone Complete Auto Care. Get your car rain ready. Take it to Firestone Complete Auto Care. Their over 4,000 ASE technicians know exactly how to keep it running newer, longer. Maintenance, repairs, tires. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
Today, increasing clouds with a 30% chance of rain, high 91. Tonight, mostly clear, low 73. Tomorrow, a 30% rain chance, high 91.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Thanks for staying tuned in, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Currently talking to Dr. Rahul Mehra. He is the Chief Medical Officer with Mera Vista Health. Learn more about them at meravistahealth.com. And we're talking about this program, employee assistance programs and things, how you got your company started and the different services that you offer. Let's talk about stress. This is something that you deal with a lot within your company and your employee assistance program. Let's talk about the effects of stress and how employers need to be aware of this, with their employees.
Right. Stress has a lot of different ways that it manifests itself. We've all been through it. We all go through it. Neck pain, headaches, stomach aches, anxiety, depression, all these things impact people's performance at work, especially in professions where you're focusing your attention, such as law, legal, manufacturing, and other trades. It's critical because the most simplest distraction can lead to injury and death.
Now, is this the number one thing that employees are calling you to deal with in your program, or is there something else that's more out there?
Yes, sir. It's usually stress related to relationships, breakup, financial stress, legal issues they may be encountering.
How often is it stress related to the job itself?
Very often, I'd say at least 50% of the time.
Okay, and how do you counsel somebody do you ever have to bring in the employer and say, listen, I think this person's got a point, I think you're putting a little bit too much on them. Tell me a little bit about how you counsel.
That's a little challenging to do because we can't violate the employee's confidentiality.
That's what I was going to get at right there, yes.
But absolutely, you're right. We also provide consultation services to the employer that if we start seeing certain trends in the workplace where we want to educate the employers not on a specific matter related to a specific employee, but if there's some general trends we're observing where there may be in one situation there's a difficult supervisor, then absolutely we'll point that out.
Okay, and so what are some of the other things that you're dealing with? What about a new child, parenting skills of that nature? Or do you deal a lot with that in employee assistance programs?
Absolutely. Anything that's going to be a life event that's causing that employee stress, we'll find the resource for that person.
Okay, and how many sessions do you take people through? I mean, what is offered through a typical employee assistance program?
Yeah, about 3 to 5 sessions, and sometimes, most frequently, an employee can get away with just needing to use 1 or 2. And then the other thing that we do is very important as well, is that we can link the employee up to community-based resources. Maybe somebody has just had a death of a parent and they're not really ready to sit one-to-one with a master's level counselor. There are free support groups in the community, for example, that we can refer them to where we have relationships with certain organizations to get that employee the help that they need.
Now, what if it's members of the family that need assistance? Maybe a wife has an alcoholic husband, things of that nature. How does that work with family members that are affected?
The spouse and significant others are entitled to these same benefits that the employee is, and even dependent children in the home. For example, if an employee gets a call that their 10-year-old son is acting out in school and they don't know what to do, they can call in to us and we'll help that 10-year-old as well.
Okay, what if somebody needs more than 3 visits?
We'll then make appropriate arrangements for them to get ongoing help as needed.
Okay, so you can take them outside of the program into a personalized sessions.
Correct.
Okay.
We will never abandon anyone.
Well, since this has to do with health and wellness, I mean, do you have preventative programs where you teach people how to work out, how to vent this stress, maybe an activity, something to do to kind of like, help to vent the stress?
Yes, sir, because, overall wellness isn't just necessarily about the counseling, but it's trying to help that person with their diet, exercise, sleep habits, because these are very fundamental things that affect all of our emotional well-being.
Yeah, I mean, stress is obviously countered very well by exercise. Let's talk to me about the importance of exercise in dealing with stress and depression. I know it's something I battled anxiety and depression in the past, and exercise is what pulled me through it. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of exercise.
Sure. The significance of exercise isn't just when the doctor's saying go walk or go running, is that really has got to do with the biology of exercise and the release of certain hormones and endorphins, they're called, and they're actually nature's best medicine that there is, which naturally help elevate the mood, decrease anxiety. And the other thing that it does is decrease the cortisol. Cortisol is what's referred to as the stress hormone, such that when you're feeling stressed, there is an excessive production of cortisol in the body.
Yeah, I battled anxiety and depression in my early 20s. It's something that runs in my family, and it was debilitating. It's something I could talk for a whole hour about. It was something that was keeping me from, getting out into the community. It was interesting. Anytime I left a safe place, my home or my job, I immediately started to sweat and tense up, and it was strange because I thought I had a heart problem. And so I went to these doctors, and I had all range of different procedures done. Eventually, it came to accept the fact that this was just anxiety, something my mother and brother had battled, and I was put on a number of different medications. Started with Boost Bar. I remember Boost Bar making it worse, and it was quite scary. Finally they put me on Xanax, and I did that for 3 months. And I said, "There's got to be a better way." I started doing research, saw the importance of exercise. I lost 30 pounds, and it's been gone ever since. I've started. I used to do stand-up comedy. I used to do all kinds of things. Talking on the radio, selling real estate, things of that nature, and anxiety doesn't bother me anymore.
Well, I think America's way too over-medicated. There's, I kid about Prozac, but, let's face it, there's way too much of it being prescribed. I think if people actually went out there and worked out, if they watched their diet, there's other things they can do besides, having Prozac or giving children Ritalin, the teacher's little helper, ADHD. You know what? We called that hyperactivity when I was a child. We never had Ritalin or the different, what is the other one, Ritalin and Adderall. Well, anyway, but the children that take this, they'll never be able to get into the military. I think that by working out, watching the diet, these things can be averted. But, there is a need for a certain amount of these medications. I'm not against all the medications, but let's face it, a lot of them are way overprescribed. In my humble opinion, that's from Charlie the plumber. I have no medical degree, but that's my observation.
Let me ask you, let's go back to the doctor about that. When you encounter a patient that you feel needs to have some type of medicine and you prescribe to them, how does that work? Do you refer them out to another doctor, or are you able to prescribe it through the program?
Yeah, through this program, we don't prescribe medication, but if I can just take a minute to address Charlie's point, there is some value in what he's saying. Medication is not always the answer in every situation. However, there are those people that may be over-medicated, but there's a very large population who are under-medicated where people are not actually getting the help that they need. And so we want to be careful that we don't, paint the brush that medications aren't necessarily needed. I can assure you I have personally treated and witnessed many situations where medications, even in children, are beneficial. Is it the sole answer to everything? No, it is not. And it requires exercise, diet, sleep, appropriate parenting, and many other things that impact someone's behavior.
Okay, we got about a minute left. Real quick, for employers that are interested in adding this to their services to employees, how can they get more information on this program?
Probably the simplest and easiest way is my mobile number, and that's area code 813-2 215-2019. They can call me directly. I'll be happy to chat with them.
Okay, and also people can visit MaraVistaHealth.com. And a great interview today, Dr. Raul Mara, Chief Medical Officer with MaraVista Health in studio, talking to us about the employee employee assistance program. Dr. Mara, thank you very much for being in studio today. Some great information. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking with Dr. Raul Mara, Chief Medical Officer with MaraVista Health. And again, learn more about the program at MaraVistaHealth.com. Coming back from the break, it's going to be the Remodeler's Corner, so we'll be hearing from Patrick Lee with PDK Investigations, along with Jim Yeager of Yeager & Company, and more with Charlie the Plumber. And you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring-type products, hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone, what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
Represented hundreds of thousands of people. I have met you in the hospital after a devastating injury on the job. We have met in my offices after a medical mistake resulted in an injury or death. I've been to so many homes, thousands, and sometimes, unfortunately, sat at kitchen tables and consoled families after the sudden loss of a loved one. I have traveled this journey to justice with so many of you. And remember this, I'm not just a lawyer, I'm your lawyer, Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Offices Tampa.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
You're going to find delays on the southbound Veterans Expressway from Hutchinson to Hillsborough. Also a crash on Hillsborough Avenue at the Veterans Expressway. Lane blockage there. Northbound 275, it's slow from pretty much the St. Petersburg side all the way through Dale Mabry. That's due to an earlier crash. See traffic problems, call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterick Hillsborough traffic tip line at 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. High today in the low mid-90s. We'll see a 30% chance of storms. Those should hold off till the evening, though. Mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. The low tonight into the mid-70s. 1250 winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. You can find the show on here weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WHNZ, and you can also watch the live stream via the tab on the homepage at tampabayradio.com. There's a button right there that says live stream. Click on that, and you can see the video of us each and every morning live here in studio. Also, you'll see some extra stuff up on the stream that you will not see if you're just listening to us over the airwaves. It's Thursdays at 8:30, the Remodeler's Corner, a weekly feature sponsored by Jim Yeager of Yeager & Company, a third-generation flooring and remodeling company celebrating its founding 70 years later, and appears in multiple categories for the past 7 years in the Angie's List Super Service Awards. Yeager's is the best shop-at-home flooring company in the Tampa Bay market. He's joined in studio today with Patrick Lee of PDK Investigations, and Patrick is a private investigator and also a former police officer up in the Charleston, South Carolina region. So we're going to be talking all about security today and how to protect yourself from unscrupulous employees within your business and also contractors and people coming into your homes to help you out. And of course, Charlie the Plumber is still with us as well. Charlie, what did you think of that first segment?
No, it was great. Tell you what a gentleman that doctor was. I'm glad that we got people like this to help others out. And Hey, you told me I wasn't so crazy after all.
Yeah, that's always good. So let's go ahead and bring on Jim Yeager here. Jim has been out the past few weeks with a surgery. So, Jim, how are you feeling today? You looking better, feeling better?
Oh, yeah, feeling good.
So
Getting back to normal.
Tell me a little bit about our guest today, Patrick Lee.
Yeah, Patrick is a private investigator, and I'm just going to back real quick and just a quick story, if I can, that kind of tells us how we got to where we're at today. But with working in people's homes every day and having a lot of different people, employees, subcontractors, going into people's homes, we want to make sure that to the best of our possible way of checking people out, that we have safe, as best we can tell, folks going into people's homes. So years ago, back before we've had, some of the services that are out there now for background checks, I remember one case where we hired a fella, came in from California, talked a really good game about, his abilities and knowledge and background and what have you. And there was a lot of conversations. He made his way from, I think it was California or somewhere out west. And we hired him on, and we were doing a big condo project down on Clearwater Beach. It was right around the time of, right before Hurricane Charlie. And so there was 8 high-end condos. A couple of the Bucks had bought them, some other high-stature people. And this fella's job was to get the selections for the flooring, the hardwood flooring, tile, bathroom tiles, colors, and what have you. And so he did that for a number of them. And he had left our employee. He was only there a short time, I think like 2 months. So he kind of used us as a stepping stone. But it was about maybe 4 or 5 months later, we had a letter from one of our local attorneys that opened up one morning, and this fellow was suing us for back commission. Commission, usually, you have to carry a job from start to finish, not I got the color of a particular item or whatever, and then all of a sudden, you're owed, in these cases, sizable commissions and such. But anyhow, we had to get our attorney to take a look at it. And I'll never forget the phone call that came through that my attorney said, "Hey, don't you check these guys out before you bring them in?" And I said, "Yeah, of course we do." And I used something off the internet that said that this guy had a squeaky clean background. Mm-hmm. And long story short, we found out that he had just got out of prison, and it, killed his wife, pushed her down the steps or something, was the brief story that we got on it. We ended up paying dearly, because even if you're right, you're never right in the legal system. They'll keep you in there forever. And so, pardon me, we always then tried to find the best possible way to make sure that the people that we were hiring, passed their background check. And then we came up with another company that's kind of big out there, won't use their name. And they were doing our background checks for a while. And then all of a sudden their direction went to wanting to sell marketing and advertising and postcards and everything but what we hired them for, which is to check people out and maintain, because you have to continually maintain as well. You can't just check them out once and, they're good for the next 5 years. It's a yearly deal from myself, through everybody that works with us, including subs.
Okay.
So
today, do you utilize Patrick Lee of PDK Investigations?
Yep. Patrick, we met. Patrick is a customer of ours, good customer. We did a large job for him, and then just, we always try to give back. People, are nice enough to give us business. We want to give back business to them. But more importantly than just that was his knowledge, his current, what he does now, which he'll tell you about. And we really feel good. Now, with any kind of background check, it's only as good, as that goes. Doesn't mean that you're not going to still have a criminal or somebody bad that goes into a house or whatever, but as humans, we can only do, this is it. I mean, that's the best shot we have.
Yeah, so let me ask Patrick, who's sitting across from us. So Patrick Lee, PDK Investigations. Tell me, about the mistake that Jim made early on there with the background check that he did, and why did that not protect him? I mean, tell me about the ways that people can protect themselves from these types of events.
Well, the primary emphasis of doing the background check is to check the people's history. Unfortunately, there are some slight loopholes depending upon the state's privacy statutes, whether they have that information that's available to me. As a private investigator, I subscribe to several different private investigator only licensed database, national databases, where I can obtain various information on people's backgrounds throughout the country. So in this case, it's obvious that either they didn't use one of those types of services, or they just did a preliminary check and didn't actually dig into the actual counties, look at the guy's address history to see what counties he may have lived in, states that he's lived in, to research that information. And that's where I try to pride myself, is that I don't just strictly rely on any information that comes up in a database service search. I actually take the extra step to verify the information through the in-county searches, the in-state searches, and that kind of thing when it's available.
Okay, so the service that he used, tell me a little bit about that. What was that looking at versus the services that you're going to be looking, or the sites that you're going to be looking at?
Yeah, I can't really speak to what they did or did not do. I can just speak for what I do. And most of the states, there are probably 8 to 10 states that are closed Privacy Act states that I don't have any access to any kind of criminal records. So I'm not sure whether in that particular situation, whether the guy came from one of those states where it might not have been available. If so, that should have been divulged to them. If not, they should have contacted that state. Somewhere in the state, you should be able to get the information on such a situation, such as a murder. I mean, that's a pretty substantial
Yeah,
charge.
I would never have thought to use a private investigator on the background searches. I think a lot of people just type in background search and a site pops up and they think it's good enough and legitimate enough. Tell me a little bit about what you do, though, as a private investigator. If I'm an employer looking to bring in an employee, or maybe a contractor to do a major remodel and make sure the person's legit. Tell me about this.
Right. The steps that I take, again, I made reference to the multiple national databases that are information databases, not internet searches. I mean, we've all seen those commercials where I read it on the internet or that kind of thing. You can't trust internet search. Most of that stuff is not verifiable or possibly inaccurate. My information gathers information from several different sources throughout the country, different like credit services and that kind of thing. But again, you can't just rely on data entry potential errors. You have to actually verify the information. If you see something, there are certain different areas of my investigations that I look for, such as the address history, liens, judgments, bankruptcies, to determine my analysis for a potential employee.
And how long does a proper background search take, a thorough background search?
I usually get mine done within a day or so.
Okay, so you can pull all this information within a day. How is the cost? What are we looking at in range of costs?
The cost, again, it depends on how involved you want it. Different levels. I have basically 3 different stages. I can go anywhere from $50 to $100. I have some clients that want a really in-depth background investigation, verify resume, sources and that type of thing, that can range up to like $200 or $300.
Okay, tell me about your background now. You spent time in law enforcement in the Charleston, South Carolina region. I think you said 20 years now in private investigations?
Yes, so over 20 years.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your path from law enforcement, how you got into the private investigations business.
I actually got into law enforcement in the university setting at Indiana University. At the time, it was one of the few university settings that offered full-time police certification within the state of Indiana. Then I obtained a position as a police officer in Charleston City Police Department in South Carolina. I spent approximately 2 years there, and then also worked back in Indiana for the Allstate Insurance Company as a claims adjuster, handling multi-line cases. Again, it offered me the investigative work with law enforcement without the people trying to shoot at me.
Yeah, I'm sure it is a little bit safer business being in the private, probably a lot more interesting as well. Absolutely. I'm sure you deal with all types of private investigations, not just employee and contractor background searches. I mean, are you the person that's out there watching the wife if she's cheating?
Absolutely.
Things? So you probably got some great stories. Does one come to mind? I want to hear some.
I'm a full service investigative agency. Yes, I've had several different personal cheaters episodes where I've actually had my client in the car and basically leave it up to my client to see how aggressive they want me to be. I've literally stood in front of cars taking photographs of cheating wives and husbands and that kind of thing. I've had people threatened to shoot me in my process service, as well as doing some what I think good heartwarming types of investigations too. I found the range of my investigations has gone from finding a lost dog to finding a missing elderly woman who had some dementia issues and that kind of thing. And that was just relatively recently. The biggest uptick in my business is the employee background checks, such as I do for Yeager and Company.
What is the landscape of the Florida environment with regards to the employees that contractors and other business owners are hiring? Are you finding a lot of negative stuff on these background checks? I mean, is this something that people really need to pay attention to?
Absolutely. I cannot stress this enough, that if you're in any kind of private business, whether it's a doctor's office, whether it's a skilled trade such as Charlie the plumber or Mr. Yeager's construction business, I do work for a whole range of like plastic surgeons, hair salons, all kinds of different businesses that I have found each and every one of my clients have found some kind of dirty information on potential applicants, so much so that they try to refute the results that I've had. Actually, one of my clients up in the Villages, I had mugshots. There were several. She was applying for a position at a plastic surgeon's office. She had multiple Medicare frauds, identity theft, grand theft, forgeries. And these are people that have access to personal information, either in your home or business, that have criminal histories that they're not going to divulge to people.
No, it's a great service that you offer, Patrick. You probably saved that doctor tons of money. You probably saved a lot of his clients, heartaches and heartbreaks from identity theft, credit card theft. This is a good reason to hire licensed and insured contractors. I look on Craigslist. There's so many unlicensed contractors on there. Even if they say that they're licensed, do this. Trust but verify. Go to sunbiz.org. Go to the Department of Professional Regulations, and you can check to see if they have a current license, a current insurance, because this way at least you'll have some type of recourse if the job's not finished properly, if they flood your house, if they burn it down. Let's face it, you don't know who you're letting into your house. It could be a child molester. It could be somebody that is going to want to rob you, to do you harm. There was a case I was reading where an unlicensed roofer went and underbid a roofing job by $5,000. But the thing is, he got a $5,000 deposit, and he never came back to the job. If you hire a licensed contractor, at least you have some type of legal recourse. In the state of Florida, it's actually illegal to hire an unlicensed contractor if there's $500 or more involved in the contract. And the first time that they get caught, it's a misdemeanor. The second offense is a felony. But by all means, people want stuff done cheap, but sometimes you get what you pay for. You get ripped off. You have the job done twice. You know what? Protect yourself. Be careful who you let into your house and around your family and your pets as well.
Yeah, I want to get some more tips from Patrick Lee of PDK Investigations. Got to take a quick break. Learn more about Patrick Lee and PDK Investigations over at investigationstampa.com. And again, you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305. 0305.
Hey there, it's Lynn Wise, the founder of Wise Business Advisors and Contractor Business Alliance. I am a certified value builder advisor, and I help business owners build a company that will allow them to have the business that they dreamed of when they started. Why did you go into business for yourself? I'm sure it was not to work 100 hours a week with no work-life balance and no financial freedom. What am I talking about? I'm talking about building a business that provides value to you and your family now and in the future. You can learn about the 8 essential areas of a business that you must build to have a business that can be an asset for your future. Go to wisebusinessadvisors.com and take the Value Builder score. It is free and will deliver your score immediately on how you are doing on building a valuable business for you and your family. Or call me at 772-834-8513 to learn more about the Value Builder system.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Northbound 275 looking a whole lot better into Tampa. Howard Franklin Bridge still stacked up to the Pinellas County side, but it looks a whole lot better near Dale and Mabry. Southbound 275, it is very slow from Hillsborough through downtown Tampa. Southbound Veterans Expressway, very slow through Citrus Park to Hillsborough. And northbound 275 in St. Petersburg crashed near 22nd Avenue North. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Firestone Complete Auto Care. Get your car rain ready. Take it to Firestone Complete Auto Care. Their over 4,000 ASE technicians know exactly how to keep it running newer, longer. Maintenance, repairs, tires. Whatever you drive a Firestone.
Today, increasing clouds with a 30% chance of rain, high 91. Tonight, mostly clear, low 73. Tomorrow, a 30% rain chance, high 91.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Meloni.
Welcome back, everybody, to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business each and every weekday at 8 a.m. here on 1250 WHNZ. So I invite you to please make this show a favorite of yours and take a break from all the political talk and negativity that's on our airwaves each and every morning with a show about business owners, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in and around the Tampa Bay and regional communities. Thursdays at 8:30 is the Remodeler's Corner, brought to us by Jim Yeager of Yeager & Company, a third-generation flooring and remodeling company based in Odessa, Florida. Learn more about them over at YeagerFlooring.com. And we're joined in studio today by Patrick Lee of PDK Investigations, and we've been talking with Patrick along with Jim and Charlie the plumber here about security in your home. And Patrick, before or during the breakthrough, we were talking about, it's such a mobile society, and we've got to. It's easy for people to go from one place to another and do the unscrupulous things that they're doing within with people and in the businesses and stuff. Tell me a little bit about this and how people can protect themselves against this.
Well, Jamie, thank you. Part of the reason that I recommend that any type of business owner or private individual, if they need to have somebody checked out, doing an in-county search or like an internet search is not going to be as productive and fruitful for them if they really want to get a clear understanding. It's private investigators have access to the nationwide database searches where they can provide address histories. As we know, and as you just mentioned, the Mobile Society, if you do a Hillsborough County records check on somebody to see any type of potential criminal activity that they may or may not have been involved in, that is not going to reflect any information on the 12 arrests that the person has had down in Collier County. So you can do a preliminary check of local records. However, that person may not have been in Hillsborough County. I know I've lived in several different states at various points in my life. Usually, especially here in Florida, we're faced with that frequently here, where people have come from other states.
Yeah, it's just like the gypsies. Every once in a while, if you have a disaster, or certain times of the year, they come down, they knock on the elderly's, let's say, their doors, and they try to contract work, and they rip people off. It's just not the gypsies, but it's any unlicensed contractor, and I've seen many of them. And you know what? There might be some that are okay, but then again, you just don't know who you're letting in your house, Jamie, and around your family. I mean, do you really want to just let anybody in? And you know what? It's a dangerous society nowadays with all the criminals out there. And do this. Verify who you're letting into your house. Hey, call Patrick. He offers a great service. And, hey, keep your family safe no matter what you do. Watch who you let into your home.
Patrick, you mentioned that you have access to different databases as a private investigator. Are these the same databases like the police have and things of that nature? Or what do you have access to that the general public?
There are some databases that I use that are also sold to various police agencies. So, and actually, I have access to a couple databases that I recently, last summer, I had a issue that I had to work side by side with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's deputy in regard to like a missing person thing that I actually advised him of a service through a database service that they were not aware of.
Now, how thorough are these databases from around the country with regard to like prison records, for example? I mean, I think everybody knows how to search the Hillsborough County prison records here and there, but something out in California or Oregon, are all these different jails and law enforcement agencies reporting to like a central database, or no?
Yes, the database company solicits and purchases the information from the various reporting agencies.
But how thorough is it? Is every law enforcement agency, every jail out there reporting to these? But are there still holes in the system?
There are absolutely still holes in the system. That's why it's important to check on the local level, if at all possible, and or the state level.
But that gets back to the whole point of being a mobile society. It's just very difficult because people can travel the country and do these types of nefarious activities.
Absolutely.
But how broad is the holes in these databases? Is most of it centralized now, or is there still a lot of room to be done still?
The majority of the states are covered in the database searches that I use. Like I said, it's a very small amount. And actually, it can vary on a state-by-state basis and that kind of thing.
Do they allow you to use the FBI database by any chance, or is that something that's closed?
No, unfortunately not, and that's actually been one of the problems that I had, because I have to show certain credentials and qualifications to get my private investigator's license. I think that we should be able to either pay a fee to gain access into that information or not. I mean, plus I think it would be helpful to the law enforcement if I'm working on a particular case where I can come across something that might be of assistance to them as well.
Well, we got about a minute left. Patrick, some great information today, and people can get more information over at your website, investigationstampa.com. Real quick, phone number, how can people get in touch with you?
You can contact me at 813-495-5111. Or, again, through my website, investigationstampa.com.
And some great resources here and some great information. I would never have thought of hiring a private investigator to do employee background checks on people. So, obviously, you have a lot of access to information. So
wide spectrum, all the way from checking out your babysitter to checking out employees for potential businesses and that kind of thing.
Great information. Thanks, Patrick. Learn more about them at investigationstampa.com. Also, thank you to Charlie the Plumber and Jim Yeager for being in studio with us. Jim Yeager of Yeager & Company, the Remodeler's Corner, each and every Thursdays at 8:30 here on That Business Show. Learn more about them at YeagerFlooring.com for all your flooring and remodeling needs. Thanks for tuning in to That Business Show with Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business.